Good morning. Globally, the dominant risk story is the Middle East, with markets watching a narrowing window for diplomacy. The BBC, Financial Times, and Al Jazeera report President Trump says the world has 10 days to see whether a nuclear deal with Iran can be reached, as the U.S. ramps up military presence in the region. The Financial Times says oil prices have risen on the build-up, and reports Trump will decide within that 10-day period whether the U.S. will strike Iran. The BBC also reports the White House is pressing Iran to make a deal while discussing attack options, with U.S. media suggesting a strike could come as early as Saturday. On Gaza, the BBC reports Hamas is reasserting control despite heavy losses, extending influence over security, tax revenue and services. Al Jazeera reports a commander has outlined plans for a Gaza International Stabilization Force with an initial deployment to Rafah. Separately, Al Jazeera says Israel's administrative moves in the West Bank are accelerating what it calls the effective end of the Oslo framework. In Africa, the BBC report a UN fact-finding mission says atrocities in Sudan show hallmarks of genocide following investigation of events around El Fasher. On the global economy and technological revolution, Al Jazeera reports OpenAI CEO Sam Altman is calling for urgent global AI regulation, underscoring the widening gap between the speed of deployment and the pace of governance. In energy transition supply chains, the Conversation reports blood cobalt is disappearing from batteries as manufacturers shift chemistry and sourcing, pointing to cheaper, cleaner batteries arriving for electric vehicles and grid storage. In the UK, ABC and the Sydney Morning Herald report former Prince Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor has been arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office, with police searching properties including Royal Lodge on Windsor Estate. ABC reports King Charles has said law must take its course. The SMH reports the arrest occurred on his 66th birthday and outlines the potential legal jeopardy under an archaic law. Turning to Australia, the key economic signal is the labour market. SBS reports the latest labour data remains historically strong, increasing the chance of another interest rate rise in 2026, according to experts. On household finances, SBS reports a survey warning that a common misunderstanding about superannuation could cost some Australians more than $120,000 at retirement. On long-run economic pressures, The Guardian reports on the scale of the intergenerational wealth transfer, with an estimated $5.4 trillion expected to be passed down over the next 20 years, and warns reliance on inheritance for home ownership risks worsening inequality and eroding faith in the fair go. In federal politics and government policy, The Conversation reports the coalition is pressing hard on immigration and security messaging, including demands that ISIS brides and their families never come to Australia, as the government responds defensively. The Conversation also reports multiple states are tightening protest laws and expanding police powers, raising questions about balancing public safety with human rights. On technology and media industry change, The Conversation reports Matchbox Pictures, one of Australia's most successful TV production companies, is being shut down after 18 years. Locally, ABC reports a Perth man, Michael Brian Beckton, has been sentenced to 24.5 years in prison after pleading guilty to 77 child sexual offences. In regional WA, ABC reports a court has heard allegations around an illegal tobacco store in Albany disguised as a lolly shop, with staff describing non-payment by mystery operators. And in sport, ABC reports Australian snowboarder Ally Hickman returned to compete after a heavy slopestyle fall at the Winter Olympics, framing it as a sign of resilience amid an injury-hit games.